Hi everybody and welcome to today's Jungle Musings. Today's message is based on the fourth philosophy in the jungle, Thrive on Support. And the title of today's message is The Power and Value of Your Human Attention. As Harry Palmer, one of my great teachers and the author of the Avatar materials and CEO of Star's Edge, once said, human attention is your most valuable commodity. I'm going to say that again. Human attention is your most valuable commodity. So basically, what I'm going to be doing today is I'm going to be giving you the key to fully showing up for life, for your life, for the people in your life, for your dreams, the key to fully showing up through the use of knowing and having the skill of utilizing the human commodity called attention. But first, I have 3 questions I want to ask you. The first one is, how hungry are you? Are you really hungry? Hungry to expand, hungry to grow, hungry to take life by the jaws? And are you hungry? How hungry are you? The second question is, are you paying attention? Are you paying attention to the universe as it opens up doors, as it leads you to places that are next for you in your expansion? Are you paying attention? And then the third question, which is really actually the second question, part B, would be, are you listening? Are you in receiving mode? Can you say yes to the universe when the universe wants to give you the gifts of your expansion? So in this video, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you some information that you will have wished that you got when you were a child. Seriously. And in subsequent videos, especially one in particular, what I'm going to do is I'm going to expand on the concept that I'm going to give you here today. So what I'm going to do is here's what I'm not going to do. I'm not going to talk to you about brain science. I'm going to talk to you about the relationship between your humanity and your higher self regarding human attention. I'm going to talk to you about the energy, really, of human attention. And so what I first want to say is I want to say that I happened across this when I was 25 years old, and this information altered the trajectory of my entire life. Because I had, as a child growing up, a whopping case of ADD. Back then, in those days, they didn't call it ADD. They didn't really know what to call it. They called it attention deficit. No, they called it learning disabilities. That's right. I got tested for learning disabilities. At one point in time, the school also referred to us as slow learners, which brings up the next point, that they didn't know how to protect our self-esteem either in those days. I remember when I saw the first show that I ran across in my early 20s about how exciting this breaking news was. What this learning disability really was this thing called attention deficit disorder. And I watched it. It was like 20 or 60 Minutes or something. It was some groundbreaking news show. And I watched that and just, with my jaw dropped open, like, oh my gosh, that is exactly me. I had that when I was a kid. In fact, I seriously doubt I would have graduated from high school if my parents didn't pull me out of, they pulled me out of Memorial High School. I actually kind of got kicked out. But anyway, that's a whole nother story. And they put me in a private school. Thank goodness they could afford that, because it was school that was one-on-one. It was basically tutoring, one teacher to one student. And I did great. I did great because of the attention that I got from the teacher, but also obviously because I got tutored. And so anyway, but what I wanted to say is that still, I did not have any luck with college, because after high school, I was hungry. I was ready to go. I wanted life. I was always knowing life was supposed to be good when I was a young child. I'd gotten sober. I'd tried to go to school 3 times. I dropped out. I got completely restimulated. All of my learning disabilities came flying up as I sat in those college classrooms and just overtook me. Not to mention, I did have the initial original issue of honing my attention. So one of the things that I always say is that we teach the most what we need to learn. And this is something that I'm still utilizing to this day. And it is a gift that keeps on giving. So let me tell you what happened. I was 25 years old. I'd been sober for a year. I was hungry. The universe put someone in my life through this kind of holistic community that I'd run across through Alcoholics Anonymous. And this person started telling me about this modality called reevaluation counseling. It's a peer counseling movement. It's a worldwide movement. It actually has the mission of ending all forms of internalized oppression across every race, every gender, every just culture, everything. Like this was a seriously huge movement, still is to this day. And they did it through peer counseling. So this was called reevaluation counseling. I got very interested in it. I felt drawn to it. I felt like the universe had dropped this in my lap as my what's next and answered my hunger for success. And I went to the introduction and I was in. That was it. One introduction, I was in. I ended up getting certified to teach I led women's groups. I was so involved that it was like the thing that altered the trajectory of my life. It was incredible. I have it all written in my book. It is the basis and foundation of most of my teachings these days and has been all along. And so reevaluation counseling has the basic theory about what human beings are like and what makes up a human being and how a human being actually operates. And the idea is that, first of all, human beings only use very small, 10 to 20% of their intelligence. And in part because human beings' intelligence is covered up with belief systems, indoctrinated belief systems, and old pains and hurts from the past. That basically our attention is stuck in other places and we're not accessing all of our intelligence. And there's more to that too, but I won't go further into that. So basically the theory was that you could free up a human's attention by discharging. And so we did peer counseling and we used this one listening technique. And this is a technique that later I was to teach when I got hired with one of the world's largest seminar companies in corporate America and traveled for 9 years with them and was speaking at their women's conferences, also leading their one-day communication seminar, how to become a better communicator. This is what I taught people. And I told people basically the same thing that I told you at the beginning, is that this is the key to showing up in your life, the key to having everything you want in life, the key to having great communications. It's a listening skill that you will never have heard of before unless you've done this particular training that I ran across when I was 25. And this is it. Ready? This is a listening skill that I'm going to expand on in a later video. So listen up. And the listening skill is this. You do not listen with your ears. That is not how listening happens. Listening happens with your attention, human attention. If you think about it, your ears are going to do their job automatically, assuming you have good hearing and there's not too much background sound or interruptions in the sound. You're going to hear, your ears are going to do their job automatically. But whether or not you hear a person is whether or not you have your attention on them. And so this listening skill is really simple, but not as easy as some might think. It's simple because all you have to do is know that you listen with your attention. So listening then is actually giving someone 100% of your attention. And then noticing when your attention comes back over to you because they say something that reminds you of something, or you come up with some brilliant solution to what they're talking about, or you start thinking about your grocery list, or they're boring or something, but your attention comes back over here and just noting it, note to self, attention, oops, I'm thinking back here in my head, and then bringing your attention deliberately back to that person, tuning back in basically. 100% of your attention, not part of your attention on them and part of them attention judging them. That's not 100% of your attention. So basically the listening skill is this: you give a person 100% of your attention, and then when you notice that it's come back into your thinking mind, you redirect it and you do it again and again and again and again. And sometimes it's easier than other times because you are actually interested in what that person is saying. So, but we don't rely on our interest to be good listeners. And so then the next part of this listening skill is, in terms of peer counseling, is to note that really when you give a person 100% of your attention, you're actually giving them a gift. Let's face it, people, human beings are junkies for human attention. Now, you may not think so, but I promise you, if you think about it and you observe your life, get back with me, because you will find that all humans really want is attention. But not just attention, they want approval. But not just approval, they want attention. And so when you give your human attention, it is very, very powerful, and especially if you're super deliberate about it. So human attention in terms of listening, then you can take it and you can actually take this concept of your attention being a gift, your attention being a tool, your ability to direct your attention to being a complete skill set for other areas of your life. So, when you make a goal, you hit a goal, how did you do that? You did it by honing your attention. If you watched the tennis match recently between Naomi and Serena, when Naomi took the Grand Slam and Serena she got really reactive and threw a big fit right at the end of the game, got into it with the umpire, and Naomi was first time to win this match, and possibly against her idol, her hero, her shero, Serena, and just this huge emotional outburst that Serena had. If you watched that, then you also saw that Naomi was crying at the end, and at the very end, Naomi also, they panned the camera over to her, and she had her towel pulled over her head, and everyone assumed, I'm sure, just like I did, that Naomi was under the towel crying because the crowd was booing. They were mad that Serena lost. They were mad at the umpire's calls. They were, mad the U.S. lost, and it was just, the whole thing was just like this huge emotional moment. And Naomi's underneath a white bath towel, hunched over like this. So, of course, everyone thought she was crying down there. Anyway, after it was all said and done, tons of interviews. I like to watch them. I especially went and Googled to see the interview between her and Ellen DeGeneres. And Ellen DeGeneres asked her, "What were you doing under the towel, Naomi?" And Naomi, she's like, "Were you crying? Were you just so emotionally upset? The crowd was booing, etc." And Naomi said, "No, actually, I was studying my acceptance speech. I wanted to make sure that I got it right because I had written it beforehand just in case I won the match." That's focus, okay? But of course, a world champion, she's not going to beat a world champion if she's not honing her attention, like really honing her attention on her goal and her dream. So you can also take this to another whole level with being present. Back in the day when I was growing up, our parents didn't talk about being emotionally present for their kids. They didn't even, that was not a concept back then. But nowadays people are like, I want to be emotionally present for you. I want to be present for life. I want to be present, emotionally present. What is being present? Being present is actually having dominion over your attention. It's actually taking your attention off of where it usually lives, which is, it's introverted as well. Once we're adults, for sure, it becomes very introverted. So it's deliberately saying, I'm going to take my attention off of all this and bring it out here on what's going on the person I'm in front of or whatever. That is actually how you get present, how you be present. The other thing that's so awesome about looking at your human attention as a commodity is when it comes to finding balance. People nowadays say they can't find balance, they're having trouble, they're going to get balance. And the idea, the concept of finding your balance or getting balance, if you add to that, it's really a division of that commodity called your human attention, then it becomes a lot easier to sort out or a lot more clear. let's say clear, not easy, no, but clear on how to sort out getting balance in your life. And finally, the last one that I want to bring up is especially for women when it comes to valuing your time and your attention. This is brilliant. It helped me so much in my past and still helps me, because I have to give myself permission sometimes to take my attention and use my attention on what I say I want to use my attention on, because I was raised by a woman who was a caretaker. She was a traditional female and she was taking care of everybody and had a real problem with being able to give herself permission to take care of herself. And so in terms of having value on your work life as well, if you are a consultant or a coach and you trade time for your attention, you trade money for your attention, this should really be useful to you. So I hope that overall this video makes a difference for you, and please share it with your friends who you think it will make a difference for. Like it at the bottom if you liked it and enjoyed it, and also if you have a comment, I love to get comments. Tell me how this relates to you, what difference it does make to you, or any requests for future videos that you might have, topics. And until next time, as usual, from In the Jungle, until next time.